So good day, I'm Stephen Gabriela Salhado, a BS Mechatronics engineering student at Batangas State University, the National Engineering University, and for this tutorial, I will help you and guide you on how can we link TIA Portal with Factory IO. So TIA Portal is a Siemens PLC programming software wherein we can simulate PLCs devices that is manufactured by Siemens, and with the capability of this software we can link it with Factory IO. So Factory IO is a simulation software wherein we can simulate industrial processes such as assembly lines, assembler, conveyors, sorting processes, and filling tanks. So there are scenes that is available with the Factory IO software. So for today, I will just teach you on how can we link these two softwares together so that um, we can practice our PLC programming skills and simulate processes that are available with Factory IO. So these methods that I'm going to teach you are the methods that work for me. So it will vary from user to user. So I'll just give references on the methods that I'm about to use, and there are also other methods that is shown there, which is here. So in this website you can see um, many ways on how can we link TIA portal and Factory IO. So for today, I'll just teach the ways or the methods that worked for me. So let's close this first. So let's just first look upon our Factory IO software, which is the simulation software for industrial processes. So here in the scene tab, we can see scenarios that inspired by common industrial application which present different challenges ranging from beginner to advanced level. So in this scenes we can program um, the processes or the objectives for each scenes with TIA portal. So let's just open this basic one, which is from A to B. So as you can see here, we have a conveyor and a sensor wherein when the conveyor runs, this box move forward, and until the box reach the sensor, the conveyor must stop. So initially there are no start push button here, so we can put a start push button, and let's just put it here. There. So we can rename it config. Let's go to view, then let's click dock all tags. So for the start button, let's just name it start PB, and this, let's just name this as start PB Lite. So after which we can open our TIA portal software. So as we wait for it to open, I will teach you on how we can use the method 1 on how can we connect TIA portal with Factory IO. So let's create a new project, then let's name it from A to B, and just save it on a path wherein you can navigate. So let's create a new folder here. Let's name it TIA portal Factory IO tutorials. There. Then just name the project, then click create. So for the first method that I'll be doing, we will use a device which is S7300, which is an earlier version of Siemens PLC controllers that are introduced way back then. So it's an old technology of PLC, but it's the process on how can we link it with factory IO is the most basic one. So to make this setup work, so let's configure a device, then let's click on add new device. So here there are three devices that we are going to deal with, but we will just be needing a controller for now. Then click on the SIMATIC S7300, then click the drop down for the CPU, then choose CPU 314C 2DP. So I'm using this not this one, the PNDP. So we will be dealing with Profinet. So I'm choosing this hardware because it has a built-in IO modules, whether it is digital or analog. So we don't have to deal with setting up the hardwares manually. So let's just choose this and make sure that the version that is used here is the latest one. Let's double click this. Then let's just wait for it to finish loading. And there you go, we'll be prompted on the device configuration view for this PLC controller. So here you can see that there is the PLC that we have chose earlier. Then it is important for us to look upon the addresses that is present with the IO modules. So here you can see DI24 and DO16. It means that we have 24 digital inputs and 16 digital outputs. Then the AI5 and A02 means that we have 5 analog inputs and 2 analog outputs. So for the scene that we have, as we can see, we don't have any analog hardwares that we are going to deal with this scene. So for this one, we'll just deal with the digital inputs and outputs for us to make the process work. So for that, let's just take note of the IO addresses. For the input addresses, it starts with 136 to 138. So we can rename, or we can edit the range for this input and output addresses. So for safety, I'm just using 10 as the starting point of the addresses, because sometimes when we use 0, it has a conflict with the PLC hardware. So there are processes that consume that addresses or the bytes from 0, and our program might not work as intended. So for safety, let's just offset it with 10. Same with the Q addresses. So for the analog input and output, since we are not dealing with those analog input and outputs, let's just leave that values as is. So after which you have set your IQ addresses, let's go to factory IO, then click F4 or click file, then go to drivers. So here select the driver to Siemens S7 PLC SIM, and in your configuration menu, select the model, which is S7300. Then for the Boolean inputs and outputs, enter the offset of 10, because since we have set our IQ addresses starting at 10, so we also need to start edit the IO points in this software, or in the factory IO software. So make sure that the two are matching, so that we don't have any communication error when we link these two softwares. Then let's just add the count of our outputs to 2, since we have a start button light and the conveyor as our output devices. Then our input devices are the start push button and the sensor. So after which we can drag our inputs and outputs. I want my start push button to be the I10.0 and my sensor to be I10.1. Then let's drag this start PB light to the Q10.1 address. So after you have done setting up your factory IO software, we can go back to our TIA portal. So since everything with the hardware has been set up, let's compile the hardware changes that we have made by right clicking this PLC, then compile and click on hardware and software changes. So there's an error. So the password must not be empty. So let's just put a password here. So errors will not be prompt. We can just click on the no protection, so it won't interfere as we compile the changes. So there we have finished compiling our hardware and software changes. So now we can export the tags so that we will not be manually inputting our tags. So to export the tags in this factory IO software, just click this icon next to the icon. So after which the tags will be exported. So click on OK, then go to our PLC tags, then click show all tags. So in here we can import the tags that have been exported. Make sure that this is synchronized by tag addresses. So in the earlier versions of TIA portals such as V15.1, 16, so there are no choices here. So it automatically synchronizes the tags by address. So in my case, I have to click on this. Make sure that the tags are synchronized by address. Then after which the tags have been successfully, it's not the tags that I have exported, so let's make sure that we choose the right one, which is this one. Click on open. There you go. So we have start push button, sensor, conveyor, and our start push button light. So after which that we have set our PLC tags, we can now go to our program block. So here you can see the main OB1, or it's an organizational block that is meant for doing our main program. So we will not deal with this other block types because it's more on of the advanced side of using this software. So we will just put our program here, then assigning tags with this with our ladder diagram. So for the process that is meant for running this scene is just a latch circuit. So when I press this push button, the conveyor must turn on and remain on until the time the box reaches the sensor. And it also expected that as I press this push button, the light here and the push button will also be turned on and turned off when the box reach the sensor. So it's just a simple latch program. So we have here our start push button, which is seen there. Then our sensor. So if you're wondering if why my sensor is normally open, it's because our hardware of the sensor is normally closed. So we should not be inverting the status of the sensor. So we'll use a NO contact here in our program. Then let's put a relay M0.0, same as this one. So after this start push button latch, this relay will output our relay. We'll link the output of this relay to the conveyor. So after we have done set up our program, we need to go to this tab, then right click, go to properties, then protection. Make sure that the support simulation during block compilation is checked, so that we don't have any errors as we run our PLC simulation. So after you've done that step, we can click this icon which indicates to start a simulation. Then a simulation software or PLC sim will be prompted. Let's wait for it to load. Then a window will be prompted here. Then let's click on start search so we can find this PLC simulation device. So after which, select this device that has the IP address set on it, then click load. Then after you've done that, just load our program to the PLC simulation. Then it says here loading complete, so the loading process was done. Then let's click go online. And you'll see that there are no errors here, and we can click this so that we can monitor our device. Let's do that again. Let's go online. Programming debugging cannot be loaded. So we need to click on the run so that the program debugging or the monitoring will be on. So as you can see, the status of the sensor is on because our hardware here in Factory IO is on. So you can confirm that the two softwares has been successfully linked together if you have a check mark here beside the drop down menu for the driver. So after which we can run the simulation, and it is expected that our intended program for this one must run properly. So let's click this start push button. So the conveyor is now running, and when it reaches the sensor, conveyor will stop. So that's the method 1 on how can we integrate TIA portal with Factory I/O using the S7-300 PLC hardware. So what if I'm going to use a more latest version, or the latest version of the Siemens PLC controllers, which is S7-1200 and S7-1500. So the method shown here in the website for using PLC Sim versions V13 to 19. So this method doesn't work for me because it has a communication error between the TIA portal or the PLC Sim and Factory I/O. So there are other methods that use a different PLC Sim software, which is PLC Sim Advanced. So this method worked for me, and I've successfully linked this advanced PLC software with Factory I/O. So to do that, let's just save this, then let's go offline, then let's exit this PLC Sim software. So after saving, let's just create a new project. Let's name it from A to B, S7 1500. So for this one, it works only with S7 1500 because here in the Factory I/O software, when we go to the configuration menu of the Siemens S7 PLC Sim hardware, it is only compatible with S7 1500. So we're going to use that controller with our TIA portal. So from here we can add a new device, then let's click on this Simatic S7 1500 and let's choose a CPU version. So for me, I'm choosing this 1500 13-1 PN. So I'm always using PN so that I know that a Profinet feature with this controller is available. So let's just choose this one. So for other people that needs a more specific description of the CPU that you are going to use, just read the description, then select between the CPUs available here. So let's just choose this one and make sure that it has the latest version. So click OK. So for this one, we have an additional step on how can we integrate this controller with Factory I/O. So we need to set up a password. So after you have set up your password, click next, then just select full access, no protection. So there won't be any issue with the protection as we are only using the software for simulation and no intellectual property or some confidential programs that we are going to use with this software. Click next, then finish. So additionally, you have seen that there are no I/O modules with this controller, so we are expected to put some IO modules with this controller. So for me, I'm using a DIDQ modules. Let's just choose this one, the 16 inputs and 16 output module. So it's a digital input and output module. Then, as we are not be dealing with analog inputs and outputs, we won't be needing an analog input and output module. So after which, just confirm the IO addresses with this one, and as you can see, the IO addresses would be 0, will be starting at 0. So after which, we need to go to this, click this file tab, right click, then go to properties, and make sure that the support simulation during block compilation is checked, so there won't be any conflict with the software. So after which, we will be needing to compile the hardware and software changes for this one. So there are 2 warnings. So one of which is don't have a protection level with our PLC controller. So since we have select full access, no protection, it will be prompted here, but don't worry, it won't interfere with the process that we are about to make. So after you've done that step, we can now open our advanced PLC sim. So I'm using here version 5. So for this one, we'll just be needing to start a virtual S7 1500 PLC. Then enter an instance name, factory IO. So this won't be changed. So changing this one will be giving us connection or communication error between advanced PLC sim and factory IO. So leave that instance name as is, then click start. Let's wait for it to start. So here in our configuration, make sure that we are also selecting the S7 1500 S7 PLC sim advance. So while waiting for the PLC sim advance to do its work, let's go to our PLC tags, then do the same thing. Import our tags, which is here. Make sure it is synchronized by address. Then we can now proceed on making the program for our simulation. So same process, a simple latch circuit. Start PB. This is the sensor, then M0.0 or our internal relay, then after which M0.0 will be linked with our output devices, which is the conveyor and the start push button light. So this part was skipped on the first method that I'll be using. So if you want the start push button to lit up also when the push button was pressed, just add a parallel connection with the M0.0. So after which we can go online So let's confirm the steps here. So here we'll just be needing to download to device our hardware and software changes. Wait for a while. Let's just compile. Configure hardware. So the tags used here uses an offset of 10. So we'll need to change those addresses. So let's just compile it again, then download it to our device. We are having issues with the advanced PLC SIM software. Let's just open it again. So after that, so now we have started the instance for the factory IO with PLC SIM Advanced. So we can now download to device our software and hardware changes. Just click connect. So it says here we need to delete all, then let's start our UA server. Just load it. Connect. So after that we can start the modules. Then as we go to our main OB1, we can now monitor our hardware. So here in factory IO, we also need to make sure that the configuration for this one should be also 0. So there you go. So let's just restart this. So as you can see, it has updated the status of the sensor, which is normally closed hardware. So it lights up green when there is a passing connection with the sensor. So let's try it. So the program run as intended, then the conveyor stops when it reaches the sensor. So those are the two ways on how we can link the two software, TIA Portal and Factory IO via PLC SIM. So just look upon the steps that work for you. If you are using S7 PLC SIM from version 13 to 19, just follow the steps seen at the website. So if this method doesn't work for you, then use the methods that I have teach you in this video. So thank you for listening and have a great day. I hope it helps you in your journey using these two softwares. Goodbye.